Today, I'm going to get ChatGPT to help me steal the most brain rots in Steal a Brain Rot. I asked ChatGPT 10 different ways I could steal the most brain rots, and we're going to find out together if each piece of advice is a hit or a miss. So I said to ChatGPT, give me 10 best ways I can steal brain rots easy in Steal a Brain Rot Roblox. The first piece of advice it gave me was learn the map and spawn points, memorize where brain rots and power-ups spawn, and common loot routes, knowing the map best, raw reaction time. So I don't really know what it's talking about here. It almost kind of reminds me of OG Laserbeam on Fortnite when he read that book, or the old guy who made a book on Amazon talking about best ways to be good at Fortnite, and he said to build a covered bridge every time you're going over water instead of just a floor and a ramp, because this is telling me that there's power-ups. First off, I don't really know what power-up it's talking about, and then second of all, it's talking about knowing the map, and Steal a Brain Rot doesn't really have a big map, to be honest. It's literally just one big conveyor belt with a bunch of brain rots, and then everybody's base is just literally right next to each other, so nobody really knows the map better than anybody else. And then the last thing it said in this advice is raw reaction time, and I guess this is one thing I will say that is probably true, because yeah, I mean, even right here, look at this, I just stole that brain rot just because I moved past her just in time, and I literally just moved right before she did. And I guess that just really kind of comes down to reaction time. If you're both going for a brain rot, literally the first person who smacks the other person first could walk away with that secret brain rot. All right, number 2 might be the best one out of the whole list, possibly. It says play stealth and timing. Move when other players are occupied, fights, trading, or looting. A well-timed, quiet approach wins more than rushing in. And so this is actually really smart. I'm actually surprised it even said this, to be honest. What it really means by this is when everybody's in the middle waiting for, you know, the mythic that's about to spawn when the timer runs out, or there's a big group of people whacking each other for fun. That's the time when they're probably not going to remember to lock their base up, and you might be able to just run in there and grab one. Like right here, I just took this mythic one and just literally just dodging all their stuff. I think actually eventually she got me. Yeah, she did. But just, I mean, stuff like that. People are looking for brain rots to spawn, people are fighting, and that's when you should just go in and try to take one. If you're just waiting outside somebody's base waiting for the timer to unlock, they're always just gonna lock it again. You gotta catch them off guard. So that's actually pretty smart that ChatGPT said this for that one. Now I'm not sure again like what it says by looting, and I told it I'm talking about Roblox. I don't know like why it's saying all this weird stuff. Like before when it said power-ups and now it's saying looting, like I don't know what game it thinks this is, but you can't do any of that on Steal a Brain Rot. So let's move on to the next tip. All right, this next one, number 3, is pretty interesting. It says use distractions/decoys in game. Team up with a friend to create a diversion, legit combat, or looting elsewhere. Team up with a friend to create diversion, legit combat, or looting elsewhere so you can slip in and grab the objective. Now again, it literally sounds like it's talking about a different game, but it's so weird because it also talks about brain rots. Like it knows that we're talking about Steal a Brain Rot Roblox, but it's still talking about stuff like take the objective and stuff like it's some Overwatch game. But this one is also just kind of like the last tip it gave, where if there's a bunch of stuff going on, that's the time to go and try to steal the brain rot rather than just standing outside their base. But this time it's saying instead of waiting for a big fight or waiting for them to wait for some crazy mythic brain rot to spawn, you can create something yourself. Maybe you have another account on your phone and you can join while you're playing on your Xbox or computer. Like imagine your main account is on your Xbox and you join on your phone with some new account with not very good brain rots, but you leave that one completely unlocked. And so when they go over to look at the ones in there, and while they're looking through them to see that it's really a bunch of just garbage, you can go in their base and actually take all their good stuff. I would have never even thought of that, making a distraction in Steal a Brain Rot, but that actually is pretty smart. So let's move on to the next one. All right, number 4 says master movement and controls. Practice sprinting, dodging jumps, and any in-game movement tricks that are allowed. Better movement equals fewer hits taken and faster grabs. So again, this just goes kind of like the other one when it was saying reaction time, but this one goes more in depth. Like it really is like people playing on mobile with 30 frames per second versus you playing on Xbox or keyboard, you're gonna be able to win probably more of the time. They can literally hit in one direction as you're like going in 20 different directions, spinning around and just mastering controls, especially if you have like some speed coil or some like boost, whatever. I don't even know. That's all that stuff's gonna give you an edge. But spinning around and jumping while you're stealing their brain rot is a way better idea than just running straight to your base like I see many people do. Okay, the next one is really weird. It says optimize your loadout/abilities. Choose items or abilities that help you escape or hold brain rots, speed boosts, shields, slowing items, etc. according to the game rules. That's what it says. That is so weird. This is not Fortnite. There's no shields. I guess there is like the speed boost, the speed coils, so we could convert that into like maybe a more of a defensive tip. So like if you have like the speed coil and somebody's stealing your brain rot, obviously you just run over there as fast as you can and then smack them, get your brain rot back. But I have no idea what it says by slowing items. Literally the only other thing I could think of is like admin commands. If you buy admin commands with like $75 worth of Robux, you can literally put people in jail or like freeze them and do all this crazy stuff. Literally send them straight to space. If somebody takes your brain rot, you could literally just instantly get it back by freezing them. So the admin commands are pretty crazy, and kind of like it says hold brain rots, the admin commands would totally help you keep your brain rot safe. Like honestly, if you have admin commands, you should never be losing your brain rots to somebody without admin commands. So let's move on to the next tip. The next tip is also another kind of weird one. It's positioning and escape routes. Never pick up a brain rot with no exit plan. Always have a nearby safe route, alley, or teammate to back you up. So this is so weird. And again, it knows that we're talking about Roblox. I literally said like 20 times Roblox steal brain rot. And the first time it told me, and I read through the list and it told me all these weird ones. So I literally said it again. I'm like, yeah, this is Roblox. So I guess the only thing I could say for this one, just coming from a pro stealer brain rot player here, is just always have like an exit plan in mind. Like if your base is across the map from somebody, to be honest, you have pretty low chances of getting away with their brain rot. Versus if their base is right next to you and all you have to do is run like just a little bit with it, then you're probably pretty good, especially if they're not right next to you. But if they're across the map, if they're by your base and their base is literally across the map and you have to go that whole way down the conveyor to get back to your base, you're probably not going to get back safe. But that's so funny that it literally said go through like an alleyway or something. There are literally no alleys in Steal a Brain Rot. This is not GTA. This is not Fortnite. I don't even know what other games you can steal brain rots in an alleyway. Like that doesn't even make any sense. But all right, the next tip is communicate with teammates. Call out positions, spawn, enemy locations, and plan grabs together. Voice text teamwork massively improves success. Now that's so true. Like if you have a buddy in the game, that's literally one less person you have to worry about. They're not going to be stealing yours, you're not going to be stealing theirs. You can literally, one of you can run in, distract the person, the other grabs a brain rot or whatever. Even if like let's say you guys are starting out and you both just got a brain rot, like one person distracted him and you guys together just got one brain rot that makes like, let's say 100 million a second, which is still pretty crazy. Literally one of you has it for a little bit while the other person waits, and then you guys swap, let each other have it for a little bit. Especially if you trust each other, then you know that they're going to give it back, then that's something that you can do. Again, I don't really know what it means by calling out enemy spawns. Like that's not really going to do anything besides literally saying, oh, look at that person right there, they have a bunch of brain rots, you could take easy. But it did say also calling out enemy positions, and that's another good one too. Like literally if they're by the start of where the brain rots are spawning, but their base is in the back and your base is either next to theirs or just across the conveyor, then you have such a better chance of taking all their brain rots, because you can literally just run in there and grab it and walk over. They won't even have time to get back unless they have like the speed coil or the admin commands. Then you have way higher chances. All right, we are on to our second to last tip. I really don't know how I feel about this one. It's observe and adapt to players. Watch what successful players do, and then it says in quotations legally, or parentheses, legally, learn patterns, where they camp, how they chase, adapt your play style accordingly. I don't know what it says by legally. Like obviously if we're talking about in the game, like don't hack or don't like script or whatever people do to cheat and steal brain rot, I'm sure it exists. But other than that, like watch what successful players do. So literally like watching a YouTube video, watching what people do. If your buddy, like my little brother literally has brain rots that are making like trillions a second, but mine are only making a few thousand a second on this account, at least my new account. So, I mean, he should be teaching me. If anything, I should be seeing what he's doing. Like, I know a lot of good players go on private servers, and that's kind of overpowered because they can literally just sit there. They don't have to keep locking their base. They're not worried about anybody taking theirs, and they can literally just wait for any crazy brain rots to spawn, and then once they do, then they can just go take them. And then our last one is kind of just similar to the last one. It says practice, watch guides, and review. Watch legal. I don't know why it says legal. Like what we're talking about Roblox here. Why say watch legal tutorials? But okay, watch legal tutorials / streams. Record your runs and analyze mistakes. Practice under the same conditions and build muscle memory. We're talking about muscle memory, stealing brain rots, okay? It's not that crazy. You literally run in there and take their brain rot. Worst case scenario, you don't get it. Recording your runs, I guess if you want to make a video, you can do that. And then analyze mistakes. Like I guess if somebody takes your brain rots, like I know sometimes I used to get locked in other people's bases and it would lock and I would be holding their brain rot. And I thought that they were like AFK, and then when the wall drops, I was going to run out with the one I'm holding. In reality, I wasn't, and their buddy was in my base taking all my brain rots right there and then. So just literally that happened to me a couple times, and now it never happened to me again. So just thinking on your mistakes definitely will help you out. Yeah, it's really weird. Whenever I was asking ChatGPT about all these tips, it was always giving me stuff like, oh, I can't help you with like cheating or exploiting. It's so weird. I was literally just asking for advice. It just assumed I was trying to like cheat in the game or something. Very weird. But I guess the advice it did give for the most part would help. Like honestly, if you've never played Steel Brainrot before and you read through this list, I guess some of these pieces of advice could definitely help you. Some of them could also confuse you too. Like if you never played before and it was telling you to like look out for power-ups and stuff, that would definitely confuse me rather than like lead me in the right direction. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and leave a like. And until next time, peace.